the power to experience the power of what it is to be human,
right,
is we all together. Everybody finds its own. That's why I always say the best solution is being the best that you can be, not for the system, not for somebody else, not for your wife, not for your family. Be the best that you can be to find more of yourself. And I found art was always the one thing that always kept me in that balance, because humans need balance.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man. He'll unpack wisdom and insights from a cross-section of top quality performers in business, media, sports, entertainment, and lifestyle to uncover key elements to help you live your best audacious life ever. So without further ado, here is the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations, folks. It's Audley Stevenson back for another edition of the most audacious podcast the internet has to offer. This is the Audacious Living Podcast, and I appreciate you for being here as we continue our ongoing goal of helping our listeners live their best audacious lives ever. As always, I encourage you to follow us on our social media channels. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under the handle The Audacious Pod. Or if you're watching this particular episode on YouTube, then you know you easily can subscribe to our channel simply by tapping that bell down below, ding, ding, ding. And that way you're connected to all good things Audacious related. Now, on this episode of the podcast, we'll spend some time talking about the power of our own creativity and why it's so important for us to tap into it. You know, it's our superpower and we all have it, and we need to tap and recognize and tap into it. Now, I don't know about you, but for the longest time, I really didn't think of myself as a creative person. And it's because I didn't feel I had an artistic bone inside of me. You know, I couldn't draw to save my life. I can't play a musical instrument. And my singing only sounded great in the shower. So, that's my reality. Now, here's the thing. You know, lack of artistic talent doesn't mean that you're not creative. And let me say that again, because the fact that you don't have any artistic talent of any kind does not mean that you are not a creative person. You see, creativity is about thinking in new, in different ways, and this way of thinking comes in handy when we run into problems, because that different way of thinking could be the difference maker in figuring ways to a solution. Now, my guest on today's episode of the podcast is Michaell Magrutsche, and he is an artist. He's an awareness and creativity educator, a speaker, and author, and he joins me for an extensive conversation on the significance of creativity in our everyday lives. You know, Michaell enlightens us with some fantastic insights, and I'm certain that you'll have lots to take away from our delightful conversation. So without any further ado, here's my chat with Michaell. Enjoy. Hey, Michaell, thank you for joining me here on the Audacious Living Podcast. It's such a pleasure, and thank you for making the time.
Audley, thank you so much. I appreciate it that I am on your canvas so I can paint.
There we go. I like that. It's really nice. And it's nice in our conversation we're going to have about art and creativity, which we just sort of talked off on the top about creativity being our superpower. And that's and I call it a muscle, you call it a superpower, but I think they're both one and the same in terms of what it can do for us. So maybe, Michaell, as a starting point, we'll get you sort of talk about how you landed on where you're at now in terms of your focus and really your on sort of creativity and art.
I was born a sick child, and I was couldn't handle school because I'm neurodiverse. I'm dyslexic and dysgraphic, And so meaning this graphic, I can't read my handwriting. A lot of people do, but I cannot decipher it.
Okay.
So when I came to school, I was like, oh my God. And then I was speak of the class. I was good with humans, but I couldn't fit in the systems. So basically my whole life, till 30, I had no feeling of identity of who I am or whatever. I just try to survive day by day. And art was one, like for so many youth, it's sports or art. It's for so many youth is always like, how am I human? How do I fit with my puzzle piece into the puzzle piece of everything?
Yes.
And what I realized later, was that we are all a puzzle piece, and it's all about the inclusion. It's all about, it doesn't matter of gender, race, sexuality, the power to experience the power of what it is to be human, right?
Right.
Is we all together. Everybody finds its own. That's why I always say the best solution is being the best that you can be, not for the system, not for somebody else, not for your wife, not for your family. Be the best that you can be to find more of yourself. And I found art was always the one thing that always kept me in that balance, because humans need balance. We have to sleep.
Yes.
We have to rest. We have, like nature. Nature has seasons and cycles, and women have periods. We always need to balance. So balance is the key. It's not performance, it's the balance to get the performance correctly. And I found that art, I was so upset because everything we have is art, right? Everything is created. The iPhone, the Nike, everything is created.
Sure.
So
they start off with an idea, and someone, and often the idea is, I wonder what if, and you sort of ask that what if question, and that's where the creativity taps in.
Yeah, like you with your podcast, you say, oh, I have an idea, I want to do a podcast that resonates with me. And then that's a thought, right? And then you bring it into the physical, and now we are here and have a podcast. Yeah. So, and that's a very powerful, nobody looks at that. It's always how much your podcast has success.
Right.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because that's a symptom of your creation. So, so that's why I always say milk the moment of creation. The symptom of success will come automatically or won't. Yes. It is not about the success, because the success is in the system.
Yeah. It's as you say that, I'm smiling because, the part to me is, I think the true success is when you can take an idea and act on and create something. That's where the success is, not the end, not the outcome or the metrics or the analytics, none of those things. The moment you take an idea and put action to it and execute, and you have something tangible in your hand, that is successful.
Yeah, and that's godly, right? That is godly. It's like a thought, non-physical, bringing it into the physical, and whatever you create, the art piece, the podcast, whatever, is the creation, is a manifestation of your communication from the non-physical into the physical, from a thought into the physical. Doesn't matter if it's art, whatever. Obviously, art is more open because you don't have a focus. So you just say, oh my God, I hear that music, I need to create. So it just comes. There's no, I need to, make a funeral song. You don't think that. You just like stuff. It might turn out to be the best wedding song or funeral song.
Sure.
But that's a symptom of that inspiration that you have and that creation. And I found 97% of artists are poor worldwide, 97% or more.
Wow.
So you only hear from media, which is another system, about the 1-2%. You don't hear from you and me. You hear from Elon Musk, and so the best, the 1%, and Jeff Bezos.
The top. That's right.
Yeah, the top. So everybody feels shamed. Everybody feels that I'm not good enough, because look at what they can, and they're here to show us the potential that we can do. Let's say, with Elon Musk and Tesla, with thing in
Sure.
Amazon, but they don't show us what it is to be a human, a fulfilled human.
Right.
Because in systems, it's all about money, not money as a bad thing, but it's all based, every system, religion is based on financial principles. Financial principles are static.
Yes.
They're not, like we said, we don't need sleep. A system works 24/7. There's another shame thing. So what I'm saying is, because it's the creation process that's the valuable thing.
Yes. Yes.
And we have to wake up. I think, and no system can ever be over a human. We created damn systems,
That's right.
A war in Ukraine, 80,000 soldiers dying in 4 months.
Right.
That is unacceptable, right?
You're right. You're right. So when you say wake up, what does that? What can we do, or what do you think needs to be done, or what would be the first step?
Nothing to be done. Oddly, that's the beauty of awareness. Once you knew you are a man, right? I don't need to explain it. There's no steps. You're a man.
Right.
How you appear in a system. See, there's always steps. When you look, what is a man? What is a black man in a system? And what is a white man in a system?
Right.
And we go system defined, which is bullshit. You know that. Right. We're all humans.
That's right.
So we all apart. Oh, because you look different. Oh my God, there's something wrong with it.
Right.
It is not.
Right.
And we know that. And when we work in the system, but the moment we go into system like politics,
yes,
all of a sudden all that shit matters.
Yes.
Race, sexuality, gender.
Yes.
When we are not going into a system and just hang out with friends.
Right. That's right.
That all doesn't exist. So we are.
Yeah.
And generations got programmed.
Yeah.
And then you get racism, and then get sexism, and then you get all this stuff. But it is system created. And I'm not saying, blame the system. No.
Right.
On the other side of systems are human too.
That support it. Yeah.
And we are blind. And we need to wake up. And once we wake up, then we know you are a man, I'm a man. We know we are humans, all humans, and we're fine.
What's really interesting, if we can wake up. So the things that we're talking about, the things that separate us, our gender, race, all those sorts of things, those oftentimes are also the same things that keep us connected. That's how we can identify to each other. That's how we can learn from one another. That's how we can make these dialogues and conversations, because of those finite things that the system, before going in this, like you talked about, going in the system, they didn't care about. But once you're in the system, they care about it. Well, those things keep us connected.
Keep us connected, but also separate us, because I think it keep us connected in systems.
Yeah.
So when you and I are in systems, let's say we are in a Democratic or Republican Party, then we have a white fraction, a black fraction, or a fraction that is for taxes, against taxes. We are a herd animal. We always have little groups, and I think that's innate in us, But we need to be aware that it's just for the system. And see, it's the awareness is, okay, in the system we define this and this and that, but really that's no problem.
Right.
It's no issue. And it's great. What you say is absolutely true. When it comes to system, we can be the best friends.
Yeah.
Then we go into systems, and then you represent the blacks and I represent the whites, right?
Or the political party, or the views, or the issues. You're right. No,
abortion, against abortion. All of a sudden, all the forced, because it's a forced, I wouldn't even have an opinion on it, but it's a forced thing. Are you against abortion or not? How can I, as a man, be against or for?
Right.
When women carry the babies, why would in the last thing, I have an idea about this, but I'm forced to make a decision because the system says, you want to be here, you got to have a decision. You have a hat on. You have to have your hat on.
That's right. No, you're right. And that's a really good point, Michael. I actually just slightly want to go back, because when you talk about art, tell me, is it specific? Are you talking about painting? What kind of art is it? Because art is very broad based. It can be inclusive of a number of different things, right? So when you talk about the art that you focus on, what does that look like for you?
I first of all, I do little art now currently because I'm writing so much. but that's art.
Which is also a
too,
form of art. Which is also a form of art.
Expression and how you use words and how language is so fluid, and I like to bend language too. So that it's a great. It's very creative, and the other thing is I love all kinds of art, and most artists are multi media artists. Most artists, because you see it with the Jay-Z or Beyonce or anybody else. It's they all do everything. They start acting, they start thinking. Because once you know that interaction, what we talked about at the beginning about non-physical to the physical, you try to express it in as multiple ways as you can. Because every let's say in dance, if I start dancing tomorrow, I learn about myself, and it's all about self-awareness. And you can't learn it in books. It's like you can't learn what love is. You can read all the libraries about love if you have never experienced it.
Right.
You can't talk about it.
It's a theory.
Yeah, it's
no practical. That's right. Yes,
exactly. So it's all about the relating, because we relate to each other. Relating is short. That's why we share.
Right.
That's why we share, and we share about because we like to. Hey, I found that funny. What do you say? We like to relate. Not that you say, "Oh, I need accolades that I found that joke," but it's like I found it funny, and it's funny. And when you don't find it funny, I learned something. I learned something. I said, why doesn't he find that funny? I was laughing my head off about this. And why doesn't? So you learn something. So this is our interaction, feedback, sharing. And that's what, because everything is in the inclusion, and you always find more of what the puzzle piece you are.
Right.
When you share and compare, but not compare in a value thing, but to say, hey,
how you best fit in.
Yeah.
Right.
And it gives you that. It's the solution. So if I say my color is yellow and yours say your color is red, then I feel something about it. It's interesting that it's and then you feel something. Why is this color red? And you feel like, why is it not color green or whatever, blue? And you learn something of that, not because you value it and says, oh my God, red has so much more value than black or green or whatever.
Right.
So you learn from the awareness, and there's no steps, there's no, and you have all the senses.
Yes.
You feel it, you smell it, you touch it, you handle it, and you feel that. And that's the awareness. When I say awareness is the highest form of knowledge, because it gets you to wisdom, and wisdom has no, there's no it affects everybody. There's no exclusion. But exception, because the system is always exception. Exception is. So this is the highest truth that you can get.
Yes,
and that's why awareness is the highest truth.
Yes. Why is creativity important to us? And I think we might have sort of touched on it a little bit in this conversation. But I want to definitively ask that question, Michaell, and why is it important for people to tap into their own creativity?
Because you got a feeling of God. You got a feeling. I'm not a religious person, but you get a feeling of creation. So when you create, I just give you an example because it makes it. So I have a white canvas. So the canvas is, first of all, the realization that a canvas or a space for music, a silent space, or a canvas is as important or more important that you paint on it, or do you create music? And a lot of people think it's all about the painting and the music. The space is the most important, because without space, you can't create.
Right.
Then I use that painting and I say, for example, yellow. I love yellow. Right now, yellow comes, blah, 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 blah. And you paint yellow, and then you sit with that, and you feel like yellow, or you get inspired by yellow that you see.
Right. And
then you paint that, and you say, okay, red, green, black, and I put that all together. And there comes a pivot point, and I think this is a very good example, where you can't just put your colors on it.
Right.
The painting, the music it gets so much that it gets its own life.
Yes.
And you are the creator. So you cannot make your podcast about something that you have no feeling about it.
That is
It
correct.
has defined itself.
That's
and the
right.
more episodes you do, the more you define yourself. And that comes a pivot point when the podcast gets its own energy, vibration, or
yes.
vibes. And you can't just no, I'm gonna do this. No, you can't.
You can't. And what happens too, also, that's a good, and I'll use that as a podcast as an example, is and it doesn't have to be podcast, it could be anything. You could start something, but it can't be sustained. Yeah. That's the key. If you're not connected to it, it can't be sustained. So maybe you start and you might, and maybe I do a couple episodes, but it's going to be gone. If we do it, but what we connect with, it has a life of its own, as you said.
Yeah. There's I have not thought about it from that angle. It can't be sustained.
That's amazing. No, that's a good point.
It's very wise, oddly. That was a super, you get it.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Yeah, because you can't, either it takes over,
right,
or it can't be sustained, or you get stuck. And this is funny, but though, even the stuck, you're not aware. If you get stuck with a painting or music, I always suggest to put it away for a month or two.
Absolutely.
And then bring it out and then look with fresh eyes.
Create some space.
Say, oh my, exactly. And what happens then is one of two things. Either you look at the painting and says, I had such a horrible time. Because your ego is and you look at it and says, oh my God, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Or you said, I know now what it needs. It needs the red dot there, right there. And it's perfect. So usually the harder it's getting to where your ego is fighting you, you say, oh, it's not good. It doesn't look like a Van Gogh. It doesn't look like that.
Yes.
I say, put it away. Don't destroy it. Don't throw it out. Put it away and bring it out, because in that process is so much growth.
Yes.
Because you get awareness. So when you have done that, like you obviously have, because you're acknowledging it, it is awareness that I can't take away from you. That's why awareness is so hard. I can't take away that you're a man.
Right. Yeah. That's it.
So you're aware of that. I can say, oh God, yeah, you're a great woman. If I say that, it doesn't matter,
Right.
But so you know who you are, and you're aware of that, and it's not a fit image. It's just what you are. We are beings, not doings,
Yes. Awareness is a starting point for everything, Michael. It absolutely is. And it's so funny because you can walk into a room and not be aware of the surroundings, right? But people who are there have a history. They know what's going on. Right. Yeah. And they're like, oh, they can be able to, and it's almost like they have this higher level of what's happening because they've always been in the room. They've always been aware of the situation versus you're just kind of walking in for the first time. And so the awareness thing, it's so important because of what it really does is sets the stage for everything else to follow. And that's where we talk about success. Yes.
Beautiful said. It sets the stage for everything that follows. And we can't go from the other way.
Right.
To say, oh, it's important to do this or do be that or whatever. The awareness is so easy. Once you have the awareness, all the rest is, because it sets the stage.
It makes sense. Yes.
That's why I say when you listen to this episode, for example, there's no steps. There's no, you gotta go get up at 5 and do this. That's all system stuff. It never gets you there.
No.
How many people try to lose weight? How many, right? How many people like to be fit? How many? Because they have no awareness. It doesn't gel with them.
Right.
Once it gel with you because you want to be fit, but it's not what you want. You feel it. You're aware, I need to be fit. I need to lose weight. Or And you got to be aware too, because some people have hormonal problems, have other problems. There's so many. We are so intricate humans.
Yes.
There is no simple answer. But system want to do simple. There is a simple answer. Be aware.
That's right.
But the system says, no, you got to do this. And this is what I always say, and this is so it just makes it clear. The biggest lie is every day should be sunshine. And if it's not, you got to get a Ferrari. We sell you a Ferrari, a pill, or a face job. If we do that, and let's say, and I'm saying, I'm going extreme. I say, let's say you and I, we say, okay, it's not sunny today. Audley and I go and we buy the Ferrari.
Right.
Get the pill, and we get the face job, right?
Right.
And then we are not happy, still not happy. We're not fulfilled. What does the system say? There's something inherently wrong with you.
That's right. Get medication.
Right? Yeah.
Go get prescription medication for your issue that you have a problem, as opposed to where I think is an important aspect is having the awareness to understand that life is going to be up and down. And there are going to have moments that you aren't going to feel great, but that doesn't mean that's where it ends. And you need that person. And I think that outside perspective allows you, the outside awareness allows you to see the full picture and recognize that the Ferrari isn't the answer.
Yeah. The thing is, tell me one living being that isn't challenged in the world. Yeah, always. So the lie is it should be sunny every day, right?
Right.
But tell me one living being, nature or humans, that isn't challenged. I don't care if you're a billionaire. Well, life doesn't challenge, your existence challenges you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how rich or poor, whatever. And the only difference is the awareness, because if the homeless person on Fifth Avenue, you and I have not as much impact as the homeless person on Fifth Avenue, because millions of people are walking on the other street, don't look at him, go to him and talk to him, give him money. He affects almost everybody. The sad thing is, talking about the awareness, the sad thing is he is not system valuable. So he's not aware that he affects these people.
Right.
That's why I say, like nature, in nature, you exist and you have worth.
Yes.
Like the ant and the elephant have the same worth. They have worth. They're existing, and that's why. So we are part of nature, right?
Yes.
So you can't say a race, a gender, or anything is less worth, because by existing, we have worth.
That's right.
It's value by existing. And in nature, we know that's by systems proven. Nature doesn't make mistakes.
Right.
No,
You're right.
It's just we are. So every time you feel down, say, hey, there's a reason why I'm existing. And by existing, I don't need to find my value. I mean, I can try it. Yeah. But even if you don't find it, you need to be aware that by your existence, you have value.
Yes.
You need to be aware.
No, I get it. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. There is value in who we are because we're here, right? And that's a lot. That's a lot, right?
And it has nothing to do with God or anything. We just here, it's not a spiritual thing or anything. It might be spiritual too, but it is we existing and we have worth. System value is a different issue.
Understood.
In the system, we might not have value. And see, if you can make that awareness and that determination, you're not navigating not like a crazy person. They say, I have no system value, so I need to find more of my value of my puzzle piece.
Yes.
That I can then bring into society or whatever. Yeah, but it's a system. It's not. You should never feel ashamed because you fail or whatever. I always say failure and mistakes are the road to success.
You got it.
They're nothing else. So
you got it. I love it all. Michael, I gotta ask, your journey to get to the point of where you're at now. Like I know you talked earlier, growing up and having to figure out this form of dyslexia that you had, and then in your early 30s, you sort of figured it out because you were. I want to go back to that, because what I find interesting is you knew at an early age what the problem was, but you weren't able to actually address it. Like, how did you manage that?
Because I lived in society, in the systems. I wanted to fit into the system. I want to be successful in the system. And in the system, an artist is only an artist when the people say you are. So you could do the greatest art in the world. If the system doesn't deem you an artist, you're not. I mean, you can be this could be the best podcast in the world, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying people have no time to find it, to sit down and listen.
Yes.
And so it's same as on the other side. So when you want to learn and become aware, which is instinctively in us, you hit the wall, and then you take it personal and say there's something wrong with me, and that's shame, and that's the worst thing.
Right.
There's something flawed.
We start beating up ourselves.
But look, it took me 55 years to recognize that I'm a direct, what we talked here, it took me that long to say my existence is the value. The worst. I cannot ever do anything else. So this is the value. I just don't fit in the system. And now I found out, okay, not fitting in the system has an advantage for other humans, because it's about the human, it's not about the system. It's about how much do I contribute to, or where's my puzzle piece in human, not my puzzle piece in systems.
Right.
Yeah. So my puzzle piece in humans is to make them up, because I'm totally self-taught. I have zero education. I'm dumb as a wall, according to the system, right? So
according to the good old system.
To the good old systems, I have no value, no financial value, no nothing.
I love it.
And so in the system value, I shouldn't exist. Like the beggar on the street shouldn't exist.
Right.
Because he has zero system. He's a nuisance. And that's what, Marianne Williamson wrote a great article about that system find humans a nuisance, because they get so efficient in the little thing they do, that they become better in that whatever, calculating or whatever. But it's not about it. That's not about human life. Who cares, But you become a system, and AI is the other problem. That is it's an amplification of everything. Louder, better, greater,
faster,
more human. But that will also amplify time as a shortened time. It will. We don't need to be amplified. We already having all this. We can't even handle ourselves. We don't need to be amplified. So now, if I use AI, then I'm in more places. Nobody has the time to see it.
Right.
Nobody has the time, and the best navigation just pushes out the inevitable, which is we don't have the time. We need to come back to humanity.
Yeah.
Not in the old days, but we need to come back. What's important?
Well, what I think about, for example, so everyone's got their GPS in their car and they can plug in, here's where I got to go, and you go straight there. And now you know the route because you're following what it told you. But what happens is you miss out on the discovery aspect. You miss out on seeing the scenery, the landscape, learning about landmarks, because when you don't have that, when you have that GPS, you don't look around, you don't look at those things around you. When you don't have it, you're kind of forced to pay attention. And so I think that's exactly what happens.
Yeah. And you could have met your love that you're looking for, because you're going the wrong direction, right? You could have met all this stuff. You could have met a guy that says, hey, I like you, let's make a business. You could have had all that stuff. I'm not saying it is, but you could have. And the possibility is endless as humans,
Yes. Yeah.
And that's another awareness. We are limitless. We created all AI, every system. And and look what we do with AI. We lift it above us.
Yeah.
AI is going to save us. It's not going to save us. We created it. Yeah. It's like I create a doll as an artist, and I start talking to the doll, and sooner or later I said, what is the best business scheme that I should do?
Right.
Doll cannot. I created a doll. You cannot submit to something you created.
That's
I always say that in art. You cannot submit to my painting. It is just an expression of me. So I'm the god of that painting, right? Yes. I am the god of that podcast.
Yes.
So I can't submit to it. It's like God coming down here. So let me submit to the humans.
No, it doesn't work. Doesn't work that way. Oh, I agree. I love this, Michael. I think it's such an important conversation, because I think what's happening is we're creating we talk about the awareness, right? We're opening up the eyes and letting people recognize. Yeah. And I think too, there's great value in intentionally being creative, intentionally tapping in that part of our brain that allows us to think in a different abstract kind of way, because there are some natural benefits that come out of that. I wonder, Michael, if you could sort of talk about some of the benefits that come out of just being creativity, using that creative part of our brains.
Cooking is creative. All our senses, what we're honing with creativity.
Yes.
All our senses. We're touching, we're smelling. Like you choose a fabric, right? You touch it. I say, oh my God, and you touch it, it's hard. It doesn't matter how you like it visually.
Right.
Because I'm not going to use that for a blanket.
Right.
Because I don't want to be waking up all itchy, you know?
Yes.
So you feel it, you smell it, you touch it, you know, and that's what fulfillment in life is. It's all our senses, not just the brain.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
it's you hear music, and music does the best, right? You hear music and you say, damn, I feel like this is heaven on earth. I mean, what other than art gives you a feeling of heaven on earth?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, love and art gives you the feeling of, when I heard Marvin Gaye or Zeppelin or whatever, I said, it's impossible. I cannot, my sensory perception. I mean, I heard Bob Marley reggae. I wasn't, you know, I was grown up in Europe, and all of a sudden Bob Marley Life, that album, hit the market, and I said, oh my God. And I'm a percussionist, so I was like, shit, that rhythm, how can you make that rhythm? I mean, and my body was ecstatic because it couldn't comprehend it, but it was turned on at the same time, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't decipher it. I couldn't decipher the rhythm yet. So there was Miles Davis in Sketches of Spain, there was a rim shot, and I could not order it in. I couldn't make sense out of it, why that rim shot come. And I listened to literally a half a year over and over to this to find the structure of that rim shot. And I got it. Yeah. But it took me so long. And this is the awareness. This is love. We say, oh my God, we need to solve this because we're turned on by that. You know, that rim shot got and it just came in. And I said, man, that is great, because, you know, Miles Davis also was one person that said, there's no wrong note. And I remember that.
That's
and
right.
So perhaps he said, and I was teeter-tottering, and I said, perhaps he said that so he can just do whatever he wants.
Yes.
But there's always, but then I got the wisdom, I got the awareness. If you look long enough, there is nothing of disorder. Everything has order. Disorder.
Everything. So it really says that you accept what you're given. So as you're co-creating with your other, you're co-creating with your improv mates, if you will, you are they'll give you something and you take that, and it's you take that and you accept it and you build on top of it. And that very much the foundation of what art is. There is no wrong notes. You cannot make a mistake. Everything that you build on can be added to it. And really what that says is that really is what co-creation does, and collaborate. Look at the internet as an example. What makes the internet useful, what makes the internet so important to us, is because everyone is contributing to it. Everyone is inputting into the internet. The internet would not be what it is today if we all didn't contribute to it. If one person was the only one that was on it and no one else, the internet would have no value or worth.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. We co-collaborate, we co-contribute, we come together to make something beautiful to happen.
And to experience the power, because now everybody in the world can go on and say, you know, who was Van Gogh? Yes. Who was Miles Davis? They're talking about Miles Davis. Who was that? You know, so that's a power. But also I'm asking, you know, art manifests humanity so much, because art doesn't ask you how many views you have, how many people love your art.
Doesn't care.
Art only wants to be created.
That's right.
So you create it and expose it. That's it.
Right.
You can show it to your little girl. You can show it to your little boy, to your wife. It doesn't mean likes, accolations, fame.
Right.
Art does just want to be created. And in that creation, is awareness. And that's why I say I learned everything from creating art.
Yep.
Not from look. I learned a lot from looking too, but it is no comparison just to focus like the art business that we understand under art is the art business, because it's all about the product. But it is so much more in the creation. The creation is so much more valuable. And that's what I don't say. It's the highest form of human expression. 97% of artists are poor worldwide. And it shows you we don't care about humans. We care about success and money system stuff.
Yes.
And we blind it so much that we say, oh, it's okay. There were 80,000 people dying in the war. Oh, okay, you know, that this happens and the consequences of a medication or whatever. It can happen, but we need to shift from those things. When we find out the medication doesn't work or this doesn't work,
right,
we need to put these things. We cannot allow, and it's not, oh, it makes no money. See, it's like we cannot allow to have people on the streets. Oh, because it doesn't matter. It costs too much. It's too much energy. Forget it. So everybody goes enthusiastically in helping others, which is our instinct to help each other, right?
Yep.
And then it stops. And the financial principle is sadly a static thing that we created. It wasn't created by some other force. So we created it, and it brings humans out of balance. That's why 8 people own 40%. Right. The system, it's not that humans are assholes that own the world.
Right.
No, it just makes them, if you are a good Monopoly player and you have the world and you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but we need to be aware there's system value and there's human value. And first, in order that any system is relevant, humans need to exist. Without humans, no system is valuable. It's irrelevant. Throw it out.
Right.
So we need to say, first, everybody should have a shelter, food, because it's so valuable. If they say, oh my God, I'm so happy you exist.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
That should be first.
Yeah.
And that's it. Let's make the systems like a tribe where it serves humanity, not we beget
the other way around. That's right.
We are a system adapt, and we need to have systems what they initially were. That's why you create a family. So one doesn't just feed babies, you know,
right.
Or the other one just is in the woods. You know, it's just, we create families, we create tribes, and they serve us.
That's right.
You know, they serve us.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around, and not suppressing.
Right.
But to that constant shaming we talked about,
yes,
we've lost any value.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't value another human. Oh,
I understand.
5 people got shot. Who cares?
Yeah. We become numb to it, right? It's like, oh, okay, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and we move on. I think you're so right. And again, the point about us not submitting to what we create it, therefore we are the master of it. It cannot work the other way around. And I think that's a really, really, really important point. Michael, this has been great. I gotta tell you, man, this has been a great conversation. I think what we've done here is really expanded people's awareness, right? We talked about awareness a few times, but awareness of the significance of what creativity has, the fact that creativity, as we've said a couple times now, is our superpower, and we have to use it. I think we're obligated to use it because it not only benefits us as individuals, but those around us as well. So fabulous points, Michael. I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you for being here. For our listeners who want to learn more about you or catch up with you, where can we send them?
I just have one hub where you find everything. It's michaelm.com, Michael with 2 L's.
Yep.
michaelm.com. And I really, there's no steps when your awareness is the human growth. And there's no steps in it because the awareness is by experiential experience. And that's why I say healthy talk, not system talk. System talk is right, wrong, good or bad.
Yes.
When you find yourself fighting about this, you are in system talk. You experience your humanity through a system.
Yes.
When you talk to a person, because everybody is one of one, there is no difference. We are fulfilling each other.
Yes.
And there is no the thing. And the third superpower is our adaptation, because concentration camps, slavery, people would have never, wars, people would have never survived this and made us stronger, because we have so much adaptability. Those are the 3 superpowers: is creativity and art, conversation. Like that's why podcasts are so important.
Yep.
Because we affect, if anybody listens or not, we affect everybody.
Yes.
Because we're all interconnected. You and
Yes.
I get more aware.
Yes.
We get clearer.
Yes.
And then it's recognized. And the third is the adaptability. And if you keep that just in mind, your life will be so much more fulfilled and richer.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Michael, like I said, man, this is so awesome. I'm glad we did this. Wonderful conversation, wonderful dialogue. Thank you for being here, my friend, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Audley.
Back we are here on the podcast, and I got to send my thanks and appreciation to Michael for being here and stopping by and opening up our eyes to the importance of creativity on our daily lives and how it can help us make us that much better. You know, when I think back to my conversation with Michael, he really left us with a lot of great nuggets of insight. But if there's just one thing that I would take from my chat with him, it would be this. There's a common misconception or belief floating around that the past people fooled into thinking that it's not possible to be creative if you can't draw, paint, or have an ear for music. You know, you'll often hear individuals say things like, I've got no imagination, you know, I'm tone deaf, or I can't draw to save my life. But in reality, these statements feed into self-defeating or self-sabotaging behaviors that are only meant to hold us back. The benefits of tapping into our creativity are immense. You know, creativity nurtures our confidence while enabling new and alternative ways of thinking. The more creative we are, the more connected we become to ourselves by opening up our hearts and the doors to our minds. You know, it brings us to hidden parts of ourselves. You know, creativity allows us to view and solve problems more openly and with innovation. The fact of the matter is that creativity exists inside all of us. And it's really a matter of unlocking, unharnessing, and maximizing it so we can live our best, audacious lives ever. Hey, listen, if you haven't registered for email notifications of the podcast, please know that you can do so simply by heading over to bestaudaciouslife.com and entering in your email address, and you'll be alerted every time there's brand new content that comes out. You also, if you're listening on your favorite podcasting listening platform, I'd encourage you to leave us a rating, 5-star rating, comment. That's what helps this platform continue to grow, and it'd be so much appreciated. We've sadly reached the end of another episode of the Audacious Living Podcast. And of course, I always got to send a shout out to our amazing lovers of audaciousness. You listeners are what keeps this thing going. And I can't extend my appreciation and thanks enough, but I will attempt to say it by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.